nigga at, you know what I'm saying, around this globe. Hey, black people, you gotta know, it's evil beasts who run this world. They wanna keep a nigga disenfranchised. Make sure black people don't rise, you know what I'm saying, open up their eyes. You see, they call us niggas, and we niggas, and the motherfuckers who rule this world are bitch niggas. We living in a world that's controlled by some bitch ass niggas. You feel me? I'm soldier, motherfucker. See, hey, I'm the ghetto revelator. You see what I'm saying? Hey, I speak the motherfucking truth and motherfucking power. You feel me? I am soldier, motherfucker. See, you feel me? Boy, ghetto black, trapped in this bitch nigga's world. Ran by some evil ass bastards, fucking tyrants. My black mama coming brand like determination. Be my mental, physical, assimilation with so much aspiration to free my black nation. But bitch niggas be ruled by the world of Satan in this bitch nigga's world. Why I gotta stay back with a fucking double world shotty? Illuminati, it's the fucking format. Shoot back at the opposition for my liberation, and that's my ultimate mission. Hell no, I ain't no Christian. Giving my enemies to destroy me, cause I was born to be, to reject and see evil, continue to succeed through technology, psychopath, psychology, read the methodology, pathologically the enemy hated, cause I was born black, melanated, in this bitch nigga's world, where I gotta stay strapped with a fucking double blood shotty. I'm ready to body anybody in this bitch nigga's world, where I gotta stay strapped with a fucking double blood shotty, ready to body anybody in this bitch nigga's world. Motherfucker, I stay strapped, ready to shoot myself after trap of the fucking matrix. Niggas always fall for the devil tricks. Quick in politics, these evil bitches who run us by the world be glorified. Mainstream media help cover up the truth and feed the world lies. Malcolm X died, spit hardcore truth revelation out his mouth. No doubt, I'm a soldier like Malcolm, so I can't buy down and worship these shape-shifting reptilians. Zombie niggas be lost like Gilligan, loving their fucking enemies who seek to make me and my people. So I can't buy down and worship these shape-shifting reptilians. Peace and peace and black power. Peace and black power. This is Underground Warrior TV. I'm back with another video. Black people, you got to be on post, living in the last days of the wicked. You got to pay attention, because the wicked is trying their best to hold on to a world that wants them off this planet. The wicked will go to war. The wicked will do things drastically. The wicked is up against global warming. The wicked is up against the rise of black people. And you got to understand, the wicked is in your people. So this is what I want to talk about. The missing people, black people that they're finding dead, dismembered, weird homicides that are not being looked into with serious merit. Yes, we're talking about Loonberg County. We're talking about Kenbridge, Virginia. This case come to my attention because someone sent me these videos. Some of these videos are outright long, like 40 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to share some of these videos, some of what I got up out of this video. This mass killing of black people in these different cities and states are connected. I do believe I'm assessing this to be some type of organ harvesting syndicate going on. And it's happening silently because the mainstream media do not project none of these stories. Okay, let's start with missing black teen named Sion Correll, who was reported missing November 2nd, 2022. He was found gruesomely murdered in a shallow grave located 60 miles from his house. The family had to do their own investigation. Somehow the family found out that his last phone location was at a particular address. This particular address of the people that own this house, the people that was in the residence of this particular house, was a child molester. The police refused to search this house. Before they found this brother body gruesomely dismembered with lye poured on top of his body. His limbs, arms, and everything was cut off. You feel what I'm saying? But the police refused to check the house where the brother phone location came from. He don't even know these particular people. The family claimed the police attitude was dismissive. This case get weird. I'm going to show you a video. I believe it's a cover-up. There's a lot of murders happening in this particular area or the particular town. There's just a dark cloud up over this town because so many murders are connected and no one has been found responsible. I give you my assessment. Check this video out. After the video, I give you my assessment, what I think it is.
When you have several kids, you never expect to have to live without one. I miss everything about him. So it's really rough. And she thought that he was just going outside to the backyard, but he never came back.
We have been passing out flyers, just trying to get the word out because we really do feel like nothing is being done.
Sion's phone was pinging at a registered sex offender's home.
Red flag. What in the world could you do that bad for a person to do that to another person?
He was dismembered.
This was unique and like nothing I've seen before in my time with the state police and working homicide cases.
The chief of police in Kenbridge at the time, on a hunch, went to a spot off C Road and found his body.
How he find it? How did he find it? Whoever did it, God gonna take care of that. I think about quitting school, Grandpa. I said, no, you ain't. I said, no, you ain't. You ain't gonna quit no school. You gonna get that degree. You working at Popeyes. Look, Grandpa, look, Grandpa. I said, let me hold something, boy. Go ahead on. You don't need nothing. Hurry up and put it in his pocket. But he was a good kid.
The victim in this case is 17-year-old Sion Carroll. He disappeared from his grandmother's home on November 2nd. He was found about 10 days later on November 11th.
She had told me that they had an argument because she asked him to pick his jackets up off the floor, and they had words back and forth. And then he came in the room later on that night and apologized to her once I called him and talked to him and, told him to just hold on. Everything gonna be okay. I'm gonna make sure you're okay.
It was alleged that Sion was not the shooter, but he was involved in a shooting in a part of Henrico County But that later proved that he was not involved in that. But even with that said, his mom had made the decision to move him in with his grandmother to get him away from Henrico. So she was hoping that the country would provide security for Sion instead of this mess.
And she told me that he apologized to her and everything, but then he went outside and she thought that he was just going outside to the backyard, but he never came back.
When I asked where Sion disappeared from, they point down in that direction, and you could see like a small tool shed out front. And family members were telling me that's where Sion hung out with his pal, his buddy, Brandon, all the time.
One of the phones that he had was an iPhone, but it didn't have service. But it was my oldest son's old iPhone. And he did find my iPhone, and the phone pinged where it pinged to. I went there, nobody saw him, and then I started to receive messages stating that it was a tier 3 sex offender that lived at the home. So it was really awkward. So when I went there that Friday evening, they told me that he wouldn't have a reason to be down there. They don't know him, and I'm telling them where his phone is pinging here, so the phone is only used around Wi-Fi.
For months after Sion's body had already been found, the sex offender was actually scrubbed from the registry. And that meaning every time I looked on the sex offender registry for this sex offender, he was not there. He was not listed at that address that he was listed at, or was he in the system at all. The most mysterious thing in this case is how Sion was found.
The chief at that time, as he told me, just had a feeling. So I deem it by the grace of God, he happened to be in the 200 block here of Seaway and came upon this area.
How he find it? How did he find it? He was the only one out there.
I mean, even if I lived in Lunenburg, I don't think I could find that spot.
Why did he resign?
It's a good question. I don't know. No one knows why he resigned, except I guess the town manager. So his body was found dismembered at several joints. He was shot multiple times. Sion's case is a very high-profile case that happened in this community, but when investigating his disappearance and his death, we learned more about a dark cloud that seems to have been hovering over this small town for a long time, and there's been several deaths that are in question in that area, and all of them are centered around one area of Lunenburg County. Brandon Lee, he was there when family members were at the church at the corner of Center Street. It was said that he and Sion were pretty good friends, but since I've talked to Brandon's mother, she just says, you know, she doesn't know how close they were. They were definitely not blood-related relatives like we've been told before.
I spoke with Brandon, I think, maybe 2 or 3 times, and his wording and his body language was just really off to me. So I knew that he had known something. And it was almost pretty much like he really wanted to tell me, but he didn't, and he didn't know how.
Brandon carried me and my friend and another friend of ours down to a Cowboy house. I told Brandon to tell Cowboy to come, I want to talk to him. He called Cowboy and said some people want to talk to you. And he came. And I got out and I walked around and I looked. I seen some down there were burning. They had been burning trash or something. He came out, went and I opened the hood, the thing on the back of the truck, and looking at it and seen the garden tools, all the garden tools.
And Junius says he doesn't think it's a coincidence that after he spoke to Cowboy, Cowboy was shot, and according to court documents we obtained, we found out that Cowboy was ambushed in a trailer he was staying in on Busy Lane.
Did Brandon help you guys search, or what was his involvement?
No, he wanted to help search, but when he seen all of us up there that Saturday, when we was getting ready to go do the search before they called tip to the office, to the police office, he said he got scared, he got paranoid, he didn't want to come up there to help. He said too many guys was up there.
It's been reported that one day after Sion's body was found, Brandon killed himself. Well, people living in that area said they heard the scanner, and they said someone on the scanner said they were behind Brandon Lee. He was running down Center Street, and that's when he ran into the woods past his house there and committed suicide. We looked for those radio transmissions, but we haven't been able to confirm that actually happened.
They said he left a note and said that he was going in the woods and go to sleep to protect his mom and dad. That's what they said was on the note, but I don't know for sure.
And if that's possible, I don't believe that he willingly committed suicide. That's just my take on it.
I want to talk to the town manager, I want to talk to the mayor and ask them what's going on down there. They, like you said, they have a lot of murders down there that haven't been solved. The same pattern. But this is the kicker, y'all. Why did Barnes tell my daughter and her aunt that Sion might have took them pills that he was taking and went in the woods and killed himself? Red flag, flag up, my ears up. Everybody that they find down there, they find them in the woods.
This should have not been his final resting place. You know, thrown on the side of the road in the bushes like he was nothing. It didn't just take a son, it took a brother, they took a nephew, they took a grandchild. I just don't understand it. He was one of the sweetest kids that I knew.
Antonio Rich. He was 19 years old, had been shot several times. His body was discovered in a ditch on Moore's Ordinary Street in Kenbridge. So Antonio Rich and Brandon Lee were cousins. And like Sion with his grandmother and Brandon Lee, of course, Rich lived on Center Street at one point in his life.
No parent should have to come visit a child here, not under the circumstances. I found out that Friday. They found him on the 15th. I found out that Friday. The detective and the sheriff came and he knocked on the door. You know, I already knew when I opened the door and knew it was them, that it was my son. I could hear myself screaming, and when they told me it was him, my neighbors on the other street heard me screaming. Sheriff Townsend gave me his condolences, and he said, "I'm so sorry, but it was Antonio." He said, and I couldn't tell you. He said, because he didn't have a positive ID on him. He said, so we had to send him off to the medical examiner to get a positive ID. That was the only time that I talked to the sheriff department because, of course, the detective that was there was from the state troopers.
When we asked Agent George specifically about this case, he said he didn't have permission of the family to talk about it.
From what I was told, 5 gunshot wounds. He died from the gunshot wounds. I'm assuming the torso because they had him wrapped up in plastic. And I know my son's hand, his right hand was smashed. You could tell that he fought back. He had a scratch mark, and I think like a little chunk of his ear was gone. And when you think it's a small town, you would think that the case would have got solved a little bit faster. Because it's somebody that knows my child personally, I don't think it was a stranger to him. I think it was somebody that he knew.
So during the Antonio Rich investigation, we realized that some of the names from the Sion Carroll case, that circle of friends, they were also coming up in Antonio's case. So I asked Special Agent Kevin George with the state police if he believed these two cases were connected.
The 2020 homicide that I'm investigating and the 2022 homicide involving Sion Carroll, I have yet to find any connection to those homicides.
It seemed like the police don't care enough because every time you hear somebody make a comment and they keep making a comment, oh, it's drugs, it's drugs. Drugs is not the root of every problem in this small town.
Have you come across anything like a drug nexus, or, you know, we always ask for motives?
I can't say that I've found a nexus that I can corroborate as a motive for this homicide.
Sometimes I just think, was he dead when they dropped him off? Was he suffering? If somebody would have found him in time, could they have saved him? Somebody out there knows something. I understand that people don't want to go to the police, but I'm his mother. Come to me. I just want to know why, and I want to know who. Somebody deserves to be behind bars for this. He had so much life left in him, and I'll never know. I'll never know what would have became of his life, and I have to live with that.
Center Street was just a love little spot. We called it the bottom. We came from the bottom, then we at the top. It's just like, it was just so calm and cool down there. Like growing up as a kid, my mom's house right here, my cousin's house, my other cousin's house, aunt house, great aunt, uncle, whatever we were doing as kids, it won't never like dangerous or we had to look over our shoulder or scare anything. Like, it was just so like, it was a good community. I just feel like it's a ghost town, it's like it's quiet. For my brother, for my cousin Brandon, cousin Tone, my aunt Pat, I just feel like it ain't gonna be the same down there no more.
Carlton Craig lost his life in Victoria, Virginia, not too far from here, September 24th of 2023.
Medic 2 wants to request an ALS for a suicide attempt. Call advised the subject is breathing, shot himself in the head. They advised that they're applying pressure now.
The 911 call for Carlton Craig came in as a suicide, but when deputies arrived on scene, they had 6 people inside the apartment, and of course Carlton was dead, and someone had apparently rifled through his pockets.
I had got a phone call at 5:30 that morning from a neighbor that lived under the apartment that he was found in. From what I got, he was fighting in the parking lot. So I don't know if he was fighting in the parking lot and he ran in the house. He had just got his driver's license.
But it wasn't at the scene.
Nothing. His wallet, cell phone, nothing.
I tried the Find Me app to track the phone, didn't go off anything. I tried to call it and call it and call it. It's just, I don't know, if he in somebody's apartment and they know him and know you and our family and they proclaim somebody after him, why not be like, we're gonna take care of this?
Or help him.
Or we're gonna help you, we're gonna get you out of here, or we're gonna find out who's after you.
She said she went and told the manager at the Village Estate that somebody was holding them hostage and shot a young man. If somebody holding you hostage, somebody else shot besides me, ain't it?
Family members telling us when they, the deputies went to investigate, the scene wasn't roped off like normal major crimes would be roped off. There were people walking in and out of the apartment. So if there was any option for tainted evidence, it was there because the family said they were walking in and out freely.
I found my son's hoodie at somebody else's house, washed, soaking wet when I got it back.
The same exact hoodie he had on when he murdered his wife.
Yep, when he was supposed to commit suicide.
Just ruled it as a suicide and cleaned him up. Well, picked him up and put him in a damn body bag, excuse my language, and just told everybody, let's back to normal. Blood up in the apartment. I had to see my mom clean my brother brain off to the floor, man. It's all right, though. Just really getting to the details. There's so many facts and pieces to the puzzle. I just feel like it's not all put together. And I want justice, one way or another. That's why I'm talking and making phone calls and trying to get to the bottom of it. That way I can help out as best way as possible with this and everything else going on. But this right here is my main concern. This is my little brother. So I feel like I just need a little more help with the sheriff and anybody else that got questions, people that was in the apartment, people that he called that night, people that seen him the night before or prior that night. I just want a little more than what I got right now. So that's all I'm asking for.
It'll never be no justice. Just tell me, how could you kill my son?
He's my son. He's my great nephew. I got him when he's 3, and that's the way he's been. So I said, my son. He said, mama. So he knew his mother, but when you raise someone, they call you what they call you. So I was his mama. He would help anybody. He was a good person. He would help anybody. If I was to pull a trash can out while he's in that house, he'd have a fit. Could cook, clean better than I do. He had manners. He did silly stuff like all young people do when he was younger, but he was a good person. He had manners. He didn't disrespect anybody. That's why I don't understand this.
Kenyelle Lee is also Brandon Lee's cousin. He went missing April 16th of 2021.
He come in the driveway with some girl, come up to the house, switch clothes, left, and that's the last time I seen him. I did not think that would be the last time I see him, but it was.
We also spoke with his biological mother.
And that would hurt because I missed so much out of his life, and when we started getting a relationship together, I didn't think that the last time I would hear from him, for me to come pick him up, and that would hurt because I wasn't able to do that. When he really needed me, the one time that he needed me, I couldn't save him because he didn't tell me where he was at.
24th of April was my other son's birthday. He don't miss calling him. They were real tight. It was Trav's birthday, and he would always call him, but he didn't. Then we had a call that on the 28th, someone called an ambulance and said he had a seizure in front of the Wedgwood Motel. But he refused to go to the hospital. Nobody heard anything since. Nobody saw him. I went to Blackstone, made up flyers, had those flyers made up. So I carried some flyers, went in the motel, showed it to them. They said they don't know him, they never seen him. I hung flyers in every pole window, they would let me hang them. Asking people if they seen him. Did they know? All I know is the ambulance, people say he did not get on the ambulance. That's all I know.
At one point during the interview, Leisha went over some rumors that she had heard what happened to her son.
They had put him in a wood cheddar, I heard that. They threw his body in between a creek, in between Blackstone and Kenbridge. That he was supposed to be in somebody's trailer. I mean, the trailers that you drive on the trucks, he was supposed to be in one of those. Those were the rumors that I heard.
What are you thinking about?
I don't like to hear her say. He's put in a shredder.
And it's a lot. It's people that knows what happened. It's people that knows what happened to my son. Because, you know, they're like throwing bits and pieces out there. The officer came to me and told me that my son was deceased. He said, I can tell you that your son is deceased, and there's 2 particular people in Lunenburg County that knows what happens to your son. He said, I will give you further details when I find out more. That was the last time I heard from that officer. That was about 2 years ago.
I don't accept that. I never will until I have proof that he's gone. I still look for him to come through the door. I feel like nobody's looking for him. Like we're the only ones wondering where he's at, what happened. I don't feel like he just walked off because he would not do that. He's been a traveler, but he will always let me know where he's at. He never missed a birthday. He never missed Mother's Day. He's gonna call me. I'm gonna know where he's at, but I don't. And it's just, you can't just vanish like that. I believe he's out there somewhere.
My stepson, Arthur Waverly Banks Jr., and I feel like he was just like my son because I never had a son of my own, and I took him in as my own son. I was the last one to see him alive, and that day that I saw him alive, because I always picked him up and carried him to town and bring him back. That day he was happier than I ever seen him in my life, and all. And he was talking about doing some work to the house that we had up there where he was living in. And I told him, go ahead, help yourself. And that was the last time I talked to him. We owned property that was formerly owned by my granddad and my father, where we standing now, my heritage, and this is where I was born at, on this property also, you know. So we down the road from Seaway. The whole farm is like 80-some acres all together. I named this road over here, Sea. When they named the road, I told them I wanted to name it Sea, because there's been a lot going on since we left from over here. It started here, and then up there. We don't actually know, you know, what all going on, and nobody's saying nothing. He always liked to be around a lot of guys, and he always liked to walk down these woods where you see behind me. And he used to walk through these woods, and we tried to stop him from doing it, but he would never do it. He loved to walk through the woods. And so I know that he had to be down in these woods, or he was going with some guys somewhere. In my church, you got a bunch of hunters. And so I called him up and asked him, I say, I want you to go with me down here, and we're going to try to find my son, because I think he's in the woods. And so in the meantime, Moore, which was the Moore family, his son said that, called and said, we're not going to wait till you get from work. We're going to go ahead on down there now. And they walked down through the woods, and they found him hanging up in a tree. And so the first thing they done was call the state police. And the state police and the sheriff department, they came out. And we never heard nothing back the police report or anything. We never heard nothing from them. And then when we got the medical examiner paper back, that it was suicide. And we never could find out exactly what happened and all, and we'd like to get some closure on it so we'll know for sure that he actually hung himself. Because we don't know. They just found him down here. And look, the way things look, is a possibility that somebody ended up doing it and set it up to make it look like it was suicide.
That's right, family. No arrest in the case of missing Virginia teen found dismembered in a shallow grave. The family of a 17-year-old Sion Carrell. They say his cell phone last pinged at the home of a local sex offender shortly after his disappearance, November 2nd, and the police refused to take this lead and use this lead as evidence for a search warrant for a missing 17-year-old black teenager. This is red flags down there going down, just like the 215 graves and more graves that were found, where the police had a secret grave in Mississippi, the missing children in Cleveland. Jameer Leonard disappeared in July of last year in Kansas, and they find him missing body parts, organs. I'm telling y'all, I may be wrong, but I think that even our people, black people, are being hired to set up black people by an entity who want to buy organs on the black market. And they would use your own kind, just like in slavery, in the Congo, in West Africa, different parts of Africa, who participated in the slave trade or capturing people that they was at war with, selling them to the Europeans. That same Negro exists today. That same sellout exists today. Why you think Africa is in the condition in certain countries that white people live in, to colonize its children, compromising for that love of money? And be careful, black people who got friends who really don't see you as much as a friend. They treat you foul, but you suggest yourself to bow down to the mistreatment just to have some friends. These friends that really don't have no love for you, and you go out their way to try to be their friend, they'll be the ones that set your ass up in the end to get your organs taken. Remember what happened to the sister up in Chicago? What was her name? Kanika Jenkins. 19-year-old black woman who was at a party. In the video, you can hear her screaming in the background. Then they showed us a much fake pictures of her stranded in the hotel lobby. Then she subsequently opened up a freezer, and she was so drunk that she laid in the freezer and froze to death. But when they do an autopsy on the sister, they take her lungs, her heart, and all kind of body organs. So be careful, black people, who you hang out with, because some of your friends, for the love of money, will set you up for your organs. Yes, this is mysterious. These are some mysterious deaths in Kenbridge, Virginia, Lunenburg County. These are mysterious deaths, just like the mysterious death I told you about with our sister who died in 2017, Kanika Jenkins. When they do an autopsy on her, they find out that her body parts were missing, her body organs. You feel what I'm saying? I believe that this is connected to something sinister on that level. You feel what I'm saying? You had Carlton Craig, Antonio Rich, Brandon Lee, Kenya Lee, Brenda G. These deaths are connected. Y'all remember Kendrick Johnson of Georgia? That was a very crazy case where they say they found a brother inside a mattress or a gym mat. He climbed up inside a gym mat trying to retrieve his shoe and suffocate to death. They tried to feed his dad, but he died for blunt trauma to the dome. And someone stole all his body organs. This is Kendrick Johnson, internal body organs that were missing. You can look this up. This is out of Georgia. I believe that was in 2017. I'm not familiar with the date, but I know that Kendrick Johnson died suspiciously. And they had the corporate. They know who did it. People set you up for the body organs. So what's going on, y'all? Down in Virginia, Kenbridge, Virginia, Lunenburg County. Peace and black power.